Hi, I'm Madeline from the New Brighton Library, and today we're going to be learning a little bit about density and making some predictions about what is going to sink or float. Now, in order to do this experiment, you need to know a little bit about density and molecules. Now, molecules are something that makes up everything in our whole world. They're these little teeny tiny little things that you can't see, but everything, like, this pencil is made up of molecules. And the more tightly packed molecules are, the more dense something is. It's thicker, you can't really see through it, it might be heavy, something like that. And the more widespread the molecules are, the more less dense that the object is. So we're going to be taking a look at that and thinking about that kind of stuff when we make our predictions. So the things you'll need that are listed on your prediction sheet are a crayon, a pencil, a penny, a popsicle stick, a little toy car, some cotton balls, and some marshmallows. Now, to make your prediction, you want to think about which object's going to float and which one you think is going to sink. And it's totally all right if your prediction turns out to be wrong, because that's all part of the learning process and part of science, is making predictions and checking to see what's going to happen. So when you drop something into the water like this crayon, gravity is going to be pushing down on it, but when it lands in the water, there's something in the water called the buoyant force, which is going to be pushing up. And you're going to have to think about which one's going to be stronger. Now, if an object is less dense, meaning its molecules are more spread out than the molecules in the water, then the buoyant force of the water is going to be stronger than the gravity pushing down on it, which means the water is going to hold the object up and it's going to stop it from sinking. I'm going to make my predictions now. I'm just going to use my crayon, and I'm not going to show you mine because I want you guys to think about things on your own and try to make your own predictions about what's going to float or sink. Okay, so I've made my predictions, and at the end, after you've done your experiment, you can check and see if you were right or not. Okay, it's time to check and see if your results matched mine. So I'm going to be testing out my predictions I made and seeing what sinks and what floats. So first up we have the crayon, and it sinks, so that matches what I predicted. Now try the pencil. As you can see, the pencil floats here. Take that out. And we've got a penny, sinks. We'll check a popsicle stick. It floats on there pretty well, even if I push it down. Still comes back up. Now we've got the toy car. It sinks. And some cotton balls. They float pretty well. I think though, if they get full of water, they might sink. Yes, your cotton balls soak up all the water, they start to sink because they absorb the water and it makes them more dense and heavy, and that's what's dragging them down. And last we have some marshmallows. And it looks like they float pretty well. They do float pretty well, and they're not sinking like the cotton balls did. So the cotton balls are a tricky one because technically they do float, but then once they absorb more water, they sink. So it's something interesting there. So how did your experiment go? Did you get the results that you thought you were going to get? Did all your predictions come true? I know most of mine did, but the cotton ball one is a bit tricky because it did float, but then it filled up with water and they started to sink. Now you can keep doing this experiment with other objects you want to test and see if they float or sink. If you find out anything really cool, please let us know. I hope you had fun doing this science experiment, and please check back on the New Brighton Library Facebook and Instagram pages to stay up to date on all the fun activities and science experiments we have going on. Thank you so much.